to do. The whole plan was to kill Mufasa and Simba. That was Scar's plan. Now,
did John think it was part of Scar's plan to have Simba survive the stampede and then get killed by the hyenas?
No, yeah, John legitimately thinks that it was part of Scar's plan to trick Simba into believing the stampede was his fault by roaring. Like, yeah, so 94 movie, Scar's plan is to kill Mufasa and Simba in the stampede, and then opportunistically, he decides to gaslight Simba so that he runs away and the hyenas can go after him instead of him eating him himself. Because if he could eat him himself, he would have done that instead of doing the fucking stampede thing. If he were trying to actually just kill Simba by eating him or whatever, the other lions would find out, right? So that's why the stampede exists in the first place. 2019 version, literally just like all the lines are like, so Simba, why don't you just stay here and roar for a bit? Like, it's so obvious that John thinks that Scar's plan is to get Simba to roar in the canyon. So, like as though that's a part of it. To, like, get him to, like the whole Simba surviving is, like, apparently a part of the plan. Like the plan wasn't to kill Simba or something, right? Isn't that weird? Like, that's all, it's so bizarre.
But he's the king. What could I give him?
Your roar.
My roar?
Yes!
Even my dad?
The whole point of that reverb is exactly what I was talking about, is, like, him saying, yes, it was a way to, like, encourage Simba, like, this is where the echoes are! And also, in John's version, perhaps this is another thing that was exclusive to John's version, so this actually might make sense. So, like, this is really weird as I'm figuring it out, because it's just so stupid. Just, like, seeing the dots being connected here, there's also, remember when Simba was distracted here? And he's like, whoa, there's, like, echoes
Get down,
here.
it could be dangerous. Danger? Ha! I laugh in the face of danger.
Right?
Cool.
See, like, he's, like, fascinated by echoes here.
You hear that, Nala? Simba, come.
So, like, maybe that's exclusive to this version. So maybe John is like, yeah, like, let's make him like obsessed with, like, echoes, and then Scar will echo, and so like that'll make it so that he's able to trick Simba easier into staying here to make echo noises.
It wouldn't be a surprise now, would it?
And in the remake, Scar tells...
For Scar to know Simba was going to survive the stampede, he must have the same omniscience that the dude from Amusement had.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, John just didn't think that far ahead. John didn't think that far ahead, Salamancer. There's, like, it's weirdly a common misconception that people have. John Favreau is not the only one with this misconception that thinks that Scar's entire plan was to get Simba to roar in the canyon, right? Even though he does say, you might want to work on that little roar of yours. That was after Scar had already tried to leave. So clearly he was going to leave without saying that. That was not a part of his plan. He tried to leave, Simba tried to follow him, and then Scar was like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to guilt shame you into staying here and then insult you and then leave, right? B, Scar gives the signal towards the hyenas before Simba roars. Not only did he do that before Simba ever roars, but it's very unlikely that he saw Simba roar in the first place. C, when Scar tells Simba to run away and never return, Scar does not mention the roar. He does not say, hey, you caused your father's death by roaring. He just notices that Simba thinks it was his own fault. He takes the opportunity. He's an opportunistic, manipulative villain character. And he takes the opportunity and is just like, oh, well, his logic, Scar's logic in that scene, he literally says, if it weren't for you, your father would still be alive. He's not saying, if you didn't roar, he's saying, if your father didn't have to save you from there, right? So he tries to, like, just... He literally just tries to make Simba believe these things, and he already does. The roar helped this, but it wasn't a part of Scar's plan. It had nothing to do with his plan. Jon Favreau didn't understand the original movie.
I always thought that the roar was a signal to the hyenas to start the stampede.
No, the roar was not the sign for the hyenas to start the stampede. The roar... They literally just watch this right now. Just watch. It's so clear. It's so obvious. I don't blame you for not remembering the movie. I don't blame you for not having it memorized like I do. But it's literally. Can I pick off the little sick ones? No. We wait for the signal from Scar.
Can I just pick off one of the little sick ones?
No. We wait for the signal from Scar.
Right? And then he goes, whoop, this is the signal. He just stands on the cliff here. That's the signal. Nothing to do with any kind of roar. And now he roars. He roars after he gives the signal. After they say, let's go. So it's really obvious, right? Like it's... If you're looking at it, if you're paying attention, it's very clear what the intention is. Jon Favreau was not looking at it and paying attention. He didn't give a shit, or he's stupid. One of the two options. He didn't care, or he's dumb. Might be both. We don't know.
Bit of a nitpick, but why tell Simba to run and don't look back if you're just gonna send the hyenas after him anyways?
Because he wanted Simba to be running away from the other lions. Right? Because if Scar tried to kill Simba himself, the other lions would find out. They'd smell it on him or whatever. If Simba is to be chased by the hyenas, he should be chased in the direction away from the pride, right? Towards fucking elsewhere, you know? Like, it makes sense. Like, you don't want him to, like, run into the pride. Or if, like, Zazu woke up, you know, there might be pride members on the way.
And why is nature healed when Simba roars at the end?
Because that's like a play on some old like fucking folklore saying where it's like, you know, like a good king brings good tithing or some shit, you know, like it's, you know, it's fucking God's angry that Scar's not doing a good job. It's like nature's way of saying that it's the incorrect king, I guess.
How does Simba become a full-grown healthy lion with a diet of only bugs?
Because bugs have protein. They're filled with protein. He just eats a lot of them. They're like, it's still carnivorous. It's still eating meat, basically. I'm sure you could probably do it. He wasn't vegetarian like Kimba. Believe that this is the... Remember the argument that people were making? Remember that stupid fucking shit that I had to find out that people were actually saying when people said that Simba was vegetarian because he was eating bugs to try and make it look like they ripped off Kimba? Like, look, in The Lion King, Simba became vegetarian too. Remember that? Isn't that so fucking stupid and ridiculous? I almost forgot how stupid, like, I forgot that that was a thing that anyone would say because it sounds so stupid. Isn't that like the stupidest thing that somebody could say, but a lot of people said it anyway? That eating bugs is the same as being vegetarian? Look, they ripped off... They saw the episode? Or multiple episodes? They saw the few parts in Kimba where he referenced being vegetarian, and they were like, okay, that's why people watched Kimba, is because he became vegetarian. Let's throw that into our movie by making Simba eat bugs. Okay. Fucking Christ, your dad's dead! What are you doing? I was just having a little nap. It's time for another beautiful day. Your dad's dead. I mean, yeah, he was kind of an asshole in this version, but I thought you liked him, Simba. I thought at least you liked him, right? Isn't that like part of the plot that you liked your dad or something? I can't really tell in this movie. It's really funny just like how blatantly Jon Favreau admitted in these interviews, like, you can just put Hans Zimmer's score to anything and people will fall for it. Like, he literally just said, people will cry, you know, the score's already, but you can just, as long as it's the same score, people will associate the memories from the original. It could be like literally cartoon drawings from a 5-year-old and it would work. He literally just said that in an interview. It's like, wow, you really cared about this movie. Why would you do this, and why would people pay money to see it in theaters? In early January, I predicted this to be out in February. Has my estimation changed at all? This year or last year? I don't even know what you're talking about. It's not out this month. It's not out this month. The last update that I gave on the channel, it has the words YMS update in the title of the quickie. I said late March, and that's a maybe. We don't even know. I'm trying as hard as I can. We're almost at the hour and 45-minute mark. We've passed the length of Old Boy. We've passed the editing time of Kimba, and I've attended and reviewed 4 different film festivals, some of them weeks long, finished up an album, a gigantic album that was 4 years in the making, finished and edited together an entire music video for that album that was very complicated to edit. So I've done a lot. I don't think that I've been unproductive. Let's keep working. Instead of focusing on when it will come out, let's just keep working on it instead. The more times you all ask me about when it's going to be out, the longer it's going to take. And I'm not even saying that as like trying to be like a fucking teacher or parent. I'm saying that literally. Like, I'm literally spending less time working on it because you guys keep asking me. Because you feel as though it needs to be addressed. So I'm addressing it instead of just continuing to work on it. So let's all cut that out. I'm going to keep working on it. Let's fucking do it. Like, I'll take the L. I goofed up by ever even pretending it would come out earlier. I was wrong. I thought it would be like an hour-and-a-half-hour-long review. I didn't think it would be this long. So I goofed up by thinking it would be shorter. But it's not, so whatever. It contradicts itself. The way that they try to plant these seeds for, like, character motivations is just so fucking awful and stupid. You'll never be called a cub again. It's like... fucking flashback. They should have done a flashback to Simba going, I am not a cub! They did it twice in the movie when, like, first Mufasa's like, no, son, you stay with the other cubs. I am not a cub. He wanted to go out, like, stop some shit from happening with his dad. And then when he found the elephant graveyard, he's like, look, if we go here, they won't call us cubs anymore. And now Scar goes,
You'll never be called a cub again.
Like he's so aware of this. He's so aware of, like, he doesn't want to be called a cub thing. Like, he pays a lot of attention to Simba, I guess, but, like, it's just really sloppy and really annoying and not, like, well constructed. There's nothing intelligent about it. There's nothing clever.
Do you love black people?
Do I love black people? No, I hate everybody. I'm waiting for the clip where it just ends right after I say no. Do I love black people? No. So loud that it escapes the gorge. So funny. Do I love black people? No. So it's even funnier if you clip it like half a second earlier without the O sound. It just sounds like I'm about to say the N-word.
I'd like to solve the puzzle. Nick.
It makes so much less sense because now the conflict in John's movie, the plot of the film rests more heavily on Simba believing that he killed his father by roaring. But at the same time, which is incredibly contradictory, John's movie also makes it so that Simba roaring was the direct result of Scar explicitly telling him to do that. So the fact that John made it more explicit, now the responsibility isn't even on Simba, right? he made it less likely that Simba would believe he's responsible because it's not his fault. Because Scar said, "This is where you need to roar right now. Roar as loud as you can, Simba. Goodbye." That's what happened in John's movie. And yet what seems to be incredibly contradictory about it is that now the plot relies more on Simba believing that he is responsible for his father's death, despite the plot making him less responsible for his father's death.
That's what Confused Matthew says about the original, lol.
Yeah, he misinterpreted the film in the same way that Jon Favreau did. Let me rephrase that. Jon Favreau, director of the remake of The Lion King, misinterpreted the film in the same way that Confused Matthew did. That's a better way to phrase it.
Confused Matthew sucks, lol.
Confused Matthew does not suck. He seems like a very nice guy, actually. I really enjoyed watching his response to my video on him. It was great. He seems pretty chill. His brother's also chill. But yeah, I mean, like, it's a misinterpretation. Because in the original film, Simba was not explicitly told to be roaring at the top of his lungs in the canyon. Scar was about to leave before Simba said, "I'll go with you." And after that point, then he's like, "No, you don't want to wind up in trouble like you did with the hyenas again." Plays on his emotions, guilt and shame, and then as an extra insult, extra guilt, extra shame, just between us, you might want to work on that little roar of yours. The roar wasn't part of the plan. He didn't tell him to roar. He just said you might want to work on it. He didn't say now, right? It was Simba's own decision to start roaring in the canyon while he was waiting for Scar to get his father for a surprise, supposedly, right? It is because it was Simba's own decision to do that that he's able to feel guilt over his father's death. That's why he feels guilty about it, right? So, damn, these shots suck so bad. I'm just trying to find footage to go over what I'm saying. Just things are just so poorly fucking communicated on a visual level. Oh my god. It's so stupid and bad. You know what's really funny? I go out of my way to explain things in a way that's easy to understand for people who might not get it, to the point where I often get complaints of people saying that I'm over-explaining something or being repetitive or stating the obvious. I get those complaints. And yet, so many of my reviews, every single one, there are moments where it's like there's something a bit complicated, you know, that I'm trying to hammer in, and I'll still see those comments. I'll still see those comments, especially involving time travel. Especially involving time travel. This is going to be one of those. Somebody's going to be a fucking moron in the comments section and say, like, "But Adam, Scar did tell Simba to roar." And just like, I guess they didn't pay attention to me, like, actually explaining it, you know? Yeah, he was like fucking, he wasn't planning on roaring. He was like insulted, and then a fucking chameleon shows up. You know, it just wasn't realistic for Simba to give a shit about his dead dad. Nobody does that in real life. Remember when Tim Allen went to jail for being a cocaine dealer? I remember that. I don't think Disney remembers, though. Or maybe that's why he's not playing the other Buzz Lightyear character. Maybe that's why. Who did they get? Chris Evans? There's like a Buzz Lightyear spinoff without Tim Allen now? To do. In the original film... I don't know. It's like, how conservative can you be if you're a fucking cocaine dealer? I don't know. Aren't you supposed to be not a cocaine dealer if you're conservative? John Doe, more like John Dope. More like John, don't watch his movies. There was an entire scandal of Reagan bringing over cocaine to the United States. No, he just brought it in so that he could trickle down cocaine onto other people. Wasn't that his policy? He said that if everybody gives him cocaine, then it would trickle down onto, like, everybody else? Like, if everybody gives their cocaine to Reagan, then they'll get some cocaine back. I'm pretty sure that was it. I think that was, like, his contribution to politics.
Have you noticed the original has some really funny frames when paused, but the remake has 0?
Yeah, because the remake has the exact fucking same facial expression the entire time. It doesn't matter which frame you pause the movie on, their faces look the same because they never change. This one has changing facial expressions. To go from one keyframe, like, this is a funny, right? It looks like he's gonna sneeze. But, like, you think of it in, like, terms of keyframes, right? This is how animation works. This is like one keyframe, right? So it's like, if you want to call it that. I don't know if they actually call it that. I might be conflating with another thing. But anyway, you go from, like, this is the frame that an audience member will notice in real time, right? This is the expression on his face. How do you change a character's expression from this to a roar, right? You have to have midway points. It can't just be a hard cut from one expression to immediately the next. Just like in real life. Just like in fucking real life, you get funny little frames out of context. Like this. This was literally just a moment. This was literally just a moment in time. You know? So, yeah, some of these are going to look goofy because you got to go from one expression to the next, which this film did not do. This film did not include more than one expression. This film included only one expression, and that expression is expressionless. Blank. Absent. Checked out. Gone. On vacation. Yeah. The expression is void. Bore. Not void of expression, but expression of void. Have I seen the Oscar noms yet? No, because the Oscar noms are not out. Are you talking about the Oscar shortlist, which got released today? Then yes. Those are not the nominations. I like that my channel is like the go-to for shitting on the Oscars every year. I don't know if there's another channel that does that. I don't know if there's another channel that people get excited to shit on the Oscars every year. I like that that's my thing. I'm happy with that. I think the average person likes people shitting on the Oscars. I think the average person doesn't like the Oscars and finds it annoying. Look at these female moves. Look at this foreign weak boy. Oh! What have I done? That's not a frame from the movie. Oh my god. Well, it's still fuck it. Alright. I do love how many times I'm able to bring back the "I'm not supposed to go up here" line, because it really just destroys his character. Like, why is he saying that? Why was that line added into the film? Since when does Mr. like, I just can't wait to be king, I'm not a cub, treat me like an adult, whatever, since when does that character care about where he's not supposed to go? Right? Like, fucking within 15 minutes, he's deliberately going where he's not supposed to be. But at the beginning of the movie, John's like, why doesn't Simba just be scared right now? Like, he knows he's not supposed to be up there, and, like, he's, you know, because he's a cub. Do you not know anything about the character? Like, if you're gonna write things for a character, they should be in line with the character, John. John? Can we talk about how fucking shitty and awful this looks? None of this looks real. None of this looks look at his fucking stupid belly. It looks so bad.
Looks like a video game.
Well, it is a video game. They made the movie in VR, so whatever. It's a video game. This character model was not supposed to sit like this. You know? Like, what the fuck's going on with his legs? It looks so stupid.
Are his paws even touching the rock?
Is he touching the rock? I don't know. He might be floating. It's like they wanted to make sure you could see every paw. Every fucking finger, man. I don't know. He could be floating.
Will the Lion King video be over 4 hours?
There's a chance. That is not out of the realm of possibilities.
He already made 2 jokes about Beyoncé, and she hasn't even shown up yet.
Yeah, true. And once, like, as soon as adult Nala shows up in this story, I'm gonna have to go on, like, a 5-hour tangent about Beyoncé. Like, so, I don't know. And then come back to the movie, you know? It's him getting Simba to roar and him thinking that... at least I've organized it that way. Like, I'm not gonna start talking about Beyoncé until we get to Nala, you know? Which would... All right, so... I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here. Because there's something about the way that the music is used in the stampede scene that is probably easier for me to explain on stream than it would be for me to just formulate in the review, and I can just use a clip from the stream. In The Lion King 1994, the relationship between the music and the visuals was very tightly knit. It was very close. It was done in a way where the two were symbiotic and they worked off of each other. Hans Zimmer created scores for certain scenes. The storyboards would then complement the score, and it's also possible that Hans Zimmer adjusted what his score was based on what the storyboards were. It doesn't matter the order at which, you know, it doesn't matter which one came first. The point is that in this film, there are specific cues and events that are taking place at specific moments in the music. And it's all very, very musically oriented with what's happening on the screen. So every sound that you hear in the actual score is something that has a purpose towards its visual counterpart. So, right? There's an obvious one. There are some very specific moments here. You can tell that things are happening on the beat. Right? That's where the cut, because that's where the cut is, because that's where the beat is, right? Right? New shot. Then you have moments like this one that I find really, really great. Listen, pay attention to how the shot is here. This is a high angle showing the wildebeest, and then we have low angle showing the wildebeest. Pay attention to what's happening in the music and how it's all the shot, the cut, and how the cuts happen on the beat of the music. So high angle, low angle, same shot. Listen to what the music does. Right? Right? The high angle, high instrumentation, low angle, low instrumentation. Then we get this like other part here. Right. There's a lot of this stuff happening in this sequence over here too. Just pay very close attention to what we're hearing musically and how it corresponds to what is taking place in the film. right? So the change in tone there is a change in which characters we're focusing on. The chaotic sort of urgency and near-death instrumentation that we hear, this like, right, versus the I've got to save my son instrumentation, right? And then now we hear the higher instruments in the orchestra, Zazu, bird flying, you know, there's a psychological association with higher pitch, right? And then as soon as he sees Simba, we get another musical cue. When he notices Simba, there's another musical cue. And then when we see the shot of him approaching Simba, there's another separate musical cue.
Father is on the way!
Right? There is so much logic in terms of how things are orchestrated. The symbiotic relationship of the music and the visuals, right? We have Zazu noticing Simba. That musical cue as he goes back. It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon, essentially. You know, it's like, it's scored for the visuals, and the visuals are matched to the score. They're both living harmoniously with each other, right?
Your father is on the way!
Right?
Hold on!
And then, you know, the shot's about to change. We're going to get a completely other musical tone. Listen, see how they're sliding down and you hear the instruments sliding down? Ba-da-da-da-da-da. The visual is characters sliding down, and the instruments are sliding down too. That like ba-ba-ba-ba, that's a callback to the previous instance of the instrumentation when Mufasa and Scar were running towards Simba, right? That is the same. Oh, is it not? Shit, that's not. Okay, that's back here. It's the same tone. Okay, we're gonna cut that part out. That was a new one that I had in my mind. I thought I was tricked for a second. All right. Good thing I fact-checked.
Hold on!
Anyway.
There on that tree!
Anyway. New shot. New instrumentation. It matches what's taking place visually perfectly. I'm going to cut this down for the review to be more efficient with how I communicate this. I made a mistake. I didn't really make a mistake. I made an observation that wasn't correct. If it wound up in my actual review, then it would be a mistake. But me just saying, this is something that I noticed right now, and it turned out not to be the case, I don't really care. Because I'm making these observations in real time, basically. Anyway.
On that tree! Hold on, Simba! Oh, this is... What do I do?
Anyway, so most of what I wanted to communicate is there. So now let's compare. Let's compare some of these moments here. Yeah, let's see if we can find the counterpart in the 2019 version, right? So the first one of the first examples I gave was this shot here, the high instruments, high shot, low instruments, low shot, right? Perfectly matched up, right? Instead, what they do here is Hans Zimmer, he's using the same score, but John is doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do. And then Hans isn't going to change the score a whole lot to fit what John's doing, because part of the selling point of The Lion King is the score, because he has to keep the old score, basically. So they add in this extra bar here to compensate for the new amount of footage. And Anyway. Yeah, this whole part. Starting right now, this is extra. And because there was no low shot, Hans Zimmer abandoned the second half of the, so it's no longer like instead of that, it's some weird Pirates of the Caribbean sounding thing like and it's so much less impactful because we can see this whole thing coming up before it even happens. Like in the original film, it's like bam, this high shot, right? Like each one has such energy to it because the cuts are taking place on the beat of the music. Whereas in this film, the shot, Jon Favreau is treating this like a tech demo, and he's like, what if I have the drone coming in from way over there and it follows down? It's like, okay, but it doesn't work as well cinematically because it doesn't match up with the music anymore, right? So Hans is making all of these weird adjustments here and there. Oh yeah, this... There's like no impact to it anymore. That one isn't even the worst example. Some of the worst examples are here. So remember all right, hold on. Yeah, which part's which? Hold on.
Son, all right.
There's nothing. Oh my fucking god. Do you notice how fucking obnoxious those like African drums are? I don't know exactly which kind of drum, but it's like they're just, it's so weirdly overpresent. It's like compensating. It's so weird. Like anyway. Is it a bongo? I don't know. So like the reason why we got this musical cue in the original is because we were following Zazu, and the instrumentation was now like, okay, this is a Zazu sound, right? We hit these high notes over here when he realizes that Simba is there. This is the musical cue that's happening is Zazu's reaction without dialogue. It's like a Looney Tunes score, basically, right? Right? Those notes are reflecting what Zazu is experiencing as a character. Now, those same notes are in here, but they don't mean anything. Because John did whatever the fuck he wanted, and Hans kept essentially the same score with the same parts of the soundtrack that were originally written to express specific things happening in the film. But now those specific parts of the soundtrack are also in this film, but they don't mean anything anymore. They don't mean, this isn't like musically cinematic anymore. It's just, it's like, yeah, the original song is there, but it's not being used effectively. It's not being used in any kind of meaningful way. Fucking Christ, it's so annoying. Like, even if they wanted to be like, okay, well, we want to wait longer until Zazu's here, like, they could have used that same musical cue, like, they could have used that, like, maybe Simba loses his grip for a second, right? That could be an effective way to use that pre-existing musical cue, but John doesn't understand why the music is there and how it was used. He doesn't understand the original film in any fucking way whatsoever. And so he's incapable of making those decisions because he doesn't even know that that was there in the first place. Like, if you wanted to have Simba, like, lose his grip and be like, like, that would be an appropriate time to do it because that would... The music is reflecting something of that nature. Like, the reflection is that the music is working with the film.
Zazu, help me!
Your father is on the way!
Right? The music changes. Now there's a new scenery. Simba and Zazu together. It's a new conflict dynamic in a shot, right? The music changes here too, but it's the same shit as what's already been happening. He's just on the branch. The music changes, but nothing about the visuals change. It's the same, it's just the same music. Oh my fucking god, it's so annoying. Look, listen to these musical cues here for a second. Right? We got the right? The ba 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 is like directly reflective of these characters' emotions as they're looking for Simba. Well, one of them really, the other one's pretending. And as soon as the shot changes, the music changes.
Hold on, Simba.
Right? The music is a reflection of that shot, right? Let's listen to this. Okay, think about this. Ba, 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 ba.
There on that tree.
Down, down, down. Right? Those shots are working with the music. The music is working with the shots. The same music is now here. Hold on. Here's the clip. The same cue is there, but it's just like you went from Zazu flying to Zazu flying. Why is there a change in the music if the visuals are not changing? They don't work well together anymore. They are two separate entities. One should be complementing the other. They should both be complementing each other. They shouldn't just be separate things. You can't just take a pre-existing song and smack it on your shitty fucking film as a goddamn Band-Aid, hoping that it absolves the entire thing of any sort of criticism. Holy God! Nothing's happening. And now this part's just new, because Hans was like, all right, I guess I gotta throw one in here.
Hold on! Help is coming!
It's so annoying.
There he is! On that tree!
There he is. Yeah.
I'm coming, Simba! Hold on! Help them, Zazu! Come to me, son! Jump!
Jump! Jump! Come to me, son! Jump!
Come to me, son! Jump! Jump!
He sounds older than the character of the old man in the film Up. In, like, Pixar's Up. Jump!
Jump! Jump!
Anyway, like... Anyway, the moral of the fucking story here is that it's going to be a lot worse when you take pre-existing music and don't use it in the way that it was supposed to be used, why it was originally composed. How do you not get it, John? How did you watch The Lion King and remake it and not understand any of this? Fucking Christ, I'm so mad. And understand why the music is there and how it was used. I'm starting to yell like Bill Burr. So, I mean, this is all, this like 5 minutes worth of rant is still pre-Mufasa dying, right? We might make it to the 2-hour mark before Mufasa dies. Like, that was the question a couple streams ago, right? Whether or not we would make it to the 2-hour mark before Mufasa dies. that was the question.
Hey again, guys. Thanks for watching as always. Special thanks to my patrons: Wholesome100 Big Chungus Lemonade Warrior, Lord Durham, TheMessers.com, Bof Jimin, Pit Inhabitant, Gabriel Herrera, Kirbymon, Splat, Hoofy Doe, Olivia Spores, Ocean Machinery, and Malav Shah. Be safe out there.